Washington Governor Jay Inslee is running for president. His platform, climate change. GOP Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel tells Republicans to kiss Trump's ring. And an unearthed memo reveals that President Trump ordered his son-in-law to have a top security clearance.
It's Team Rising time. We've got in the House today Raven Group principal and Democratic strategist Estuardo Rodriguez and big league politics reporter and writer Sunny Joy Nelson. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Guys.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to start off with this Kushner story. Allegedly, the president being more engaged than he has said in the past on getting his son-in-law security clearance. Sunny, what do you make of this?
Right, so we were talking about this a year ago with his clearance, and I'm just guessing, like, is this the next, like, made-up scandal since the Russian collusion is not panning out? You know, his lawyer has said he went through all the proper paperwork and everything, so, I mean, I believe the president has said he had nothing to do with it, so I'm interested to see how it'll play out.
Estuardo, what do you think? Made up or no?
Well, I'm just distracted by the Russian collusion reference there, but we'll do that on another segment. The White House Chief of Staff expressly opposed the security clearance upgrade for Mr. Kushner. So even for me, it's not even a matter of the president demanded his son-in-law get the clearance. It's there were high-level professional national security advisors in the White House saying this is a bad idea. That's the conversation to have. Why is it a bad idea? If there's real reason to be suspicious or concerned about his access to high-level documents, then that's the investigation that needs to happen. I'm not even worried about President Trump demanding his son-in-law. It's what's the reason that he shouldn't have had it in the first place that we need to get into.
Sunny, is that something that you want to see further investigated?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I just, you know, he's applied for it. He's going through all the paperwork. Everything has said that it's, like, going through fine. So well, my thing with Russian collusion is, you know, the press is making this into a big deal when I'm not really sure why it is. You know, in 2013, there were 4 million people with security clearance.
You don't think it's a big deal that someone with such high-level access to secure information, who was just this week trying to negotiate Middle East peace with our friend MBS over in Saudi Arabia, you don't think it matters that John Kelly and other national security professionals said this guy shouldn't have this level of access?
Well, yes, of course it matters. You know, they're the professionals here. But if he wasn't Trump's son-in-law, would we be having this conversation?
No, because he wouldn't have a security clearance.
Well,
that's kind of the point.
I also wonder, too, if there's so many people in the White House and in the administration who have these concerns, why have they let Kushner take the lead on Middle East negotiation? Why has he been given all of these high-profile responsibilities? Well, that's the question. To Estuardo's point, like, what are the mechanisms at work here? I think that there needs to be a little bit of transparency about what the complaint is.
Well, clearly you see that the president has had probably one of the highest turnover rates of White House administration in our lifetime. What we know is that if you're with him, great. If you're not with him, at some point you're going to end up on his Twitter feed and you're on your way out. So the people that have not supported his demands clearly have moved out, and those that have stayed within the White House are allowing the president to get what he wants, which, to a certain extent, I mean, that is the president's prerogative.
He's the duly elected Democratic leader.
The nepotism is gross, though, and I think would have been, you know, if Hillary Clinton got elected and Chelsea was senior advisor, or Chelsea's husband, whose name I forget, was senior advisor, the right would be crucifying the Clintons right now.
Which is exactly why I think the conversation to have is, why was Mr. Kelly so opposed to it?
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, TBD, we're going to look into that for you, Estuardo. We've got the chair of the Republican Party, Ronna McDaniel. She's kind of dropped that Romney part, hasn't she? A little bit. Talking about a potential primary challenger to President Trump. Let's take a listen to that.
What would any Republican be thinking, saying this is a guy I'm going to run against? So have at it. Go ahead, waste your money, waste your time, and go ahead and lose.
She's kind of got a point.
Yeah.
Don't you think? I mean, especially, too, when you look at what happened in 2016 with Democrats overtly giving that nomination to Hillary Clinton vis-a-vis superdelegates and all the other institutional prowess that they gave her. Is this problematic, what the RNC chairwoman is saying, which is, hey, our guy's already in the White House, we want to keep him there?
Yeah, no, so I'm actually at CPAC, and I can tell you, like, the environment there, like, everyone is so pro-Trump, like, you know, MAGA hats everywhere. And I agree. I mean, putting up anyone against President Trump is just a waste of money, I think, because no Republican candidate is going to beat out what he has. He has such a strong base, and he's keeping his promises. He has a very strong pro-life crowd, and he's keeping his promises to defund Planned Parenthood. So I don't think you're going to find a more pro-life candidate than him.
Estuardo, if that's the case and someone primaries Trump, they're going to need Democrat votes to win. Do you think there's a Republican out there who can do that? Is that a shot that someone should take?
Well, if you look at exactly the point around Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders came in, and we know how that turned out. But the reality was that Bernie really did mobilize a huge segment of the Democratic base and others outside of the party. I think that even if the CPAC is full of MAGA hats all over the place, I think that Republicans who long for a more traditional conservative in the White House, and that might really move someone within the Republican Party to say, at least let us remind the party that there are different views of what being a Republican candidate means.
And it might be Bill Weld in, former Massachusetts Governor Bill Weld. I don't know that he's like the, superstar name, well-known name that you would want. John Kasich is floated as someone. Jeff Flake has been floated as someone. There's a few folks out there who could potentially do it. Even if we all stipulate, which I think we all have to agree, it's unlikely that any Republican challenger would beat an incumbent president in the Republican primary. But even if they dinged him a little bit, did well in New Hampshire, did well in a couple of the primary states, would that be a detriment to the president? Would that make it harder for him to win the general election?
I don't think so, just because everyone that you named, I mean, obviously my biggest issue is the pro-life issue. That's a huge issue. That's a lot of the votes. None of them are pro-life. They claim they are. You got John Kasich saying he won't sign a heartbeat bill. President Trump is the most pro-life president we've had. So I think
that's interesting.
No one's going to beat that out.
So we have another Democrat, Estuardo, who has entered the fray. Jay Inslee, governor of Washington, is running for president. Let's hear a little bit of Jay.
I'm Jay Inslee, and I'm running for president because I'm the only candidate who will make defeating climate change our nation's #1 priority. We can do this. Join our movement. This is our moment.
This is our moment.
It is.
Is it his moment?
It is. It's all 15 of theirs moments. How many do we have now? It's everyone's moment.
Yeah.
This is the inverse of the 2016 elections. Everyone should come out. Everyone needs to bring greater attention to all the issues that really are important for the country, as opposed to what we're currently seeing from this White House.
So the perplexing part to me about Jay Inslee, though, is he's coming from a very blue state where even there the climate change agenda has not been successful. Blue state Washington voters rejected a carbon tax, I think twice now at this point. So if you're governor of that state, are you kind of thumbing your nose at your own voters and saying, hey, I'm going to try the guys in the 49 other states? Or what is the path forward for him, and what does victory look like given those dynamics?
Well, considering that as I said, you're almost hitting 15 now, everyone really needs to look at how to stand out. And so his reputation in the state, regardless of how the legislation has panned out in terms of the environment and climate change, really isn't going to impact what his national message is, because he has to appeal to the New Yorkers from the other side of the country. So I think this is something that will get attention from other states on the Northeast that really have prioritized this issue, other states that don't know who the hell he is, right? And so in order to really kick this off with the kind of a gravitas that he should have, this is the platform for him, and I think he's going to milk it as long as he can, and then move into some of the other mainstream issues that his state probably does support him.
Sunny, as Estuardo referenced, there are a number of Democrats who have entered the fray. I believe we have a graphic with all of their pretty faces on.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
Of the folks who are either in or likely to get in, Joe Biden being among them, of course, who poses the biggest threat to President Trump?
That's a great question. I don't really think anyone does, in my opinion. I guess if anyone's going to, Elizabeth Warren's probably one of the top.
Sunny and Estuardo, thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next up on Rising, get ready to jump on the Trump train with the Deplorables comedy tour. Buck Sexton talks with one of the show's headliners. They're talking comedy and political rhetoric.
And later, Netflix changed the ending to a well-known chick flick. We'll tell you which film when Rising continues.